Hello, and welcome to my room. This is the setting of the first ever Chai Chat, like a TED Talk, even more chaotic. There aren't any specific topics of conversation. It can honest to God just be anything. Just think of it as a semi-organized info dump of whatever my current hyperfixation is, which is currently animatronics. Submechanophobia is the fear of submerged man-made objects. In this section, I will be sharing with you some facts about the creepiest submerged animatronics I could find. Content warning, some of these are like mega unsettling, so here's a timestamp if you want to skip to the next section. Now this is the Carrassi monster in Gardaland, Italy. It's literally the stuff of nightmares, and I mean that literally. I have had several nightmares about this uncanny valley thing. That's not me being dramatic, it really does haunt my dreams, but for some reason I can't stop looking at it. This animatronic is a nightmare for people with submechanophobia. Between the almost human-like face and the way it just pops out of water. I mean, like, just fucking look at it. Whoa, who thought this was a good idea? Anyway, before I start taking bets on the fight between me and Mr. Sea Monster here, I have more nightmare fuel to give you. For this, we are heading to Australia. Please say hello to the Murray Bridge Bunyip, Bert. Bert is like the poster child of submechanophobia, so I know entirely too much about him. And now you're gonna learn some of it too. The Bunyip is a mythical creature in Australia lore. Another contender for this info dump was the Big Banana Boat Bunyip, but for some reason this is more horrifying than this. So we're talking about Bert instead. Bert debuted in like the 70s as a coin-operated animatronic that ended up decaying over time, turning into this. About 10 years later, Bert was changed to Bertha and was given a baby Bunyip, which is like 2 nightmares for the price of 1.
Hi.
This animatronic is actually still up and running with a more tame appearance and no baby. So I guess they're Bert again? Sure. I mean, we're talking about wet animatronics. There really aren't many rules here. But the moral of this particular story is that Bert is an icon and deserves to be treated as such. Thank you. Next on my list is Bruce, another icon. We all know the movie Jaws, but have you seen images of the full animatronics? It freaks me out to look at. They made several of them for the movie, and afterwards they were just abandoned. It makes it even more unsettling than when they were in operation. Still, I would rather eat glass than be anywhere near these things, wet or dry. Now, fun fact about Bruce here. He was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer, Bruce Raymer. The animatronic would go on to be the inspiration for Bruce from Finding Nemo. So by the transitive property, Bruce from Finding Nemo was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. Now, I could talk about submechanophobia forever, but I won't. This is meant to be short form content in between my longer videos. So maybe later down the road we'll get a chai chat of just submechanophobia, but right now we're moving on. If you're not familiar with Murphy's Law, let me explain. It's the concept that anything can go wrong will go wrong, which applies to our next 2 animatronics affectionately named Murphy and Murphy, respectively. For simplicity's sake, we will be starting with Murphy. Well, Disney Murphy, that is. This Murphy actually made headlines recently because back in April of this year, dear old Murphy caught fire during the Fantastic show. And there are multiple videos of dear old Murphy on Twitter going out in a blaze of glory. However, this is not the first time Murphy has broken down mid-performance. There was also another instance of the animatronic breaking down due to how big and heavy it was, that it ended up staying in a hunched over position and had to be dismantled to get it out of the way. Now, after this incident, they did get it repaired so it doesn't miss too many shows, but when it does need a night off, they use these cool like water screens to project over the dragon. Personally, this is preferable to me as I also happen to suffer from megalophobia, aka big things make me scared, and a 45-foot, several-ton dragon that spews fire makes me want to cry. Now that's enough about Murphy. Let's talk about Murphy. Now this Murphy is actually in Las Vegas. This is an animatronic dragon that was a part of the Merlin show at the Excalibur Hotel. As the name implies, this is a medieval themed hotel. To my knowledge, the hotel is still there, but they removed all medieval aspects of it, which makes no sense because the hotel is shaped like this. But I'm not here to complain about how nonsensical that move was, but to discuss the 71-foot animatronic used in the Merlin v. Murphy show. It's even bigger than the one at Disney World, and I don't know why. All I know is that when it first debuted, it was a hit, but over time, the structure of the animatronic started to break down, leading to a decline in show quality, and eventually the cost of upkeep wasn't worth it, and the show ended up getting canceled in the early 2000s. That's a long-winded explanation to say that no one has seen Murphy since the show was canceled. Now that was until a YouTuber named Freddie Trapp went to Vegas, stayed at the Excalibur Hotel to figure out once and for all if Murphy was still there. And he was. In all of its terrifying glory, Murphy was located in the moat he once performed in. According to the Fast Pass Facts video that I watched about this, Freddie almost got in legal trouble for doing this, so shout out to him for taking one for the team. Another subgenre of animatronics I've found myself strangely fascinated by are abandoned animatronics. Now, some of these have been rescued and some have been left to rot. There's one animatronic on this list that is also classified under submechanophobia. This abandoned animatronic I want to discuss was discovered by a YouTuber as well, and this is the story of the Massachusetts Pleasure Island Moby Dick animatronic. The slogan of this place was the Disneyland of the Northeast. Kinda cringe, but work, I guess. Can't really say much because I also am kinda cringe. Anyway, this park closed in 1969 and Moby Dick disappeared with it. It was suspected that Moby was still in the pond that the ride was originally built on. There are even still pieces of the ramp that are visible on the lake today. This theory was proven correct, and the clips I will be showing from this YouTube channel, Sparky Games, please watch the whole video linked below. It is super cool. Sparky, armed with an underwater drone and an enviable amount of determination, they were able to get footage of Moby Dick. It sank to the bottom of the pond on the tracks it was built on. Now, this thing was horrifying when it was in operation, but completely submerged and slightly decayed. Oh, through the small lens of a drone? Oh my god, it makes it look so much larger than its 50-foot length. No, thank you. But I can't stop looking. Anyway, thank you, Sparky Games, for the anxiety-inducing footage. Another real MVP. Appreciate you. Now, my next creepy animatronic on this list is actually a favorite of mine and a lot of others. This animatronic introduced me to the song Evil by Interpol, which is actually a banger. Now, I'm talking about Norman, the life-size animatronic puppet that was programmed to sing the song in the music video. Norman is uncanny, and it makes my skin crawl. Norman was lost and abandoned after the video, but almost 20 years later, Norman came into the possession of an artist by the name of John Colbeck. He used his YouTube platform to locate and raise funds for the purchase of the animatronic, and he now uses it to host videos on his channel, which is truly iconic if you ask me. I can't even explain it. There's just something about Norman that I just love, but it also scares the shit out of me. I could honestly go on forever about all the info I've gathered recently, but I do want to use these chats as, little bite-sized content between the larger videos that I make. However, I am open into making part 2. I don't know. We'll see how my brain is doing at the time. And that's really all I have for you today. I will see you when I see you, and remember to return your library books on time, or else.